The Cleveland Cavaliers are the hottest team in the NBA right now. They currently sit in about second place in the Eastern Conference, only behind a loaded Boston Celtics team. And I think it is fair to say that the Cavaliers have gone out and surpassed just about everybody's expectations for them this season. But it didn't start out this way. In fact, before New Year's Day, the Cleveland Cavaliers were a middle-of-the-pack team in the Eastern Conference with about a record of 18-14, which isn't bad, but they had been dealing with some injuries early on that really stopped them from looking like true contenders. However, this would change on January 1st of 2024, because it seems like that is really when they caught a groove. They got some momentum, because since New Year's Day, the Cleveland Cavaliers have gone on a 17-2 run, the best in the NBA. Not only have they gone on an 8-game win streak, but they're currently on a 9-game win streak. And a big part of their success has been the team's ability to rally behind their superstar, Donovan Mitchell. Now, before they went on this crazy little run that they have been on for the past 2 months, there were some rumors that Donovan Mitchell was probably going to walk in free agency. Hell, those rumors have been around since he got traded to Cleveland. But with this little run that they're on, if they win a championship, does Donovan Mitchell leave in the offseason? You might think that's crazy talk, but hell, we've seen this exact scenario play out just a few years ago when Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors, made a run, won an NBA Finals, and still left them in free agency. So we'll see what happens with Donovan Mitchell in Cleveland. But for now, he is on the team and he is carrying this team on his back. Or at least he was, but a couple of his teammates have stepped up around him. I mean, statistically speaking, Donovan Mitchell is having a career year. Currently, he averages about 28.2 points per game, only behind the numbers he put up last season when he averaged 28.3 on the season. As for his assists, they are at 6 per game. That's the first time he's done this his entire career. Averaged 6 assists per game. And he's played 42 games this season, so he's been healthy for a majority of it. That's probably why he was elected to the All-Star game. And honestly, he should have probably been a starter for the All-Star game over a guy like, I don't know, Damian Lillard, but whatever, he was robbed by fan votes. It's okay. Donovan Mitchell will continue to be an all-star. Hell, he should be a first team, maybe second team all-NBA player when it's all said and done. And his rebound numbers, 4.5, the highest by far in his entire career. If Donovan Mitchell isn't in the MVP race, it's rigged. Now, do I think he should win the MVP? Of course not. There are some great players who kind of rise above Donovan Mitchell, but he should be in the conversation, especially if the Cavaliers end up in the top 2. I think it is worth taking a look at. Now, you may be wondering, why have Donovan Mitchell's numbers been on the rise? Is it because he's been playing a lot more minutes per game? Is it because the ball's been in his hands a lot more, so he's shooting more? Well, if we take a glance at his minutes played and his field goals attempted on the season, the averages are about, similar for the rest of his career. So, it must be that he's shooting more efficiently. He's just playing at a higher level of basketball. And that seems to be true because, he's currently shooting 47% from the field this season, the second highest he's ever averaged, alright? And from the three-point line, it sits at about 36%. But he isn't the only one who's balling out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is a team sport, remember that. There are a lot of key pieces this team has that really fit the system that JB Bickerstaff has seemed to be running so far. I mean, you got guys like, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, this young core that seemed to develop with Donovan Mitchell over this past year and a half. Now, the next guy I do want to focus on is Darius Garland, because he seems to be a very interesting piece to this puzzle. When he does play, he seems to average the second most points on the team. However, that hasn't been too often this season, as he has only suited up for 27 games. He did play opening night, and then he missed a handful of games after that. But he played a majority of the early games in the season. In fact, he didn't get hurt until mid-December, and that injury kept him out until the end of January. However, he has been back for this team since the beginning of February. He's played the last 6 or 7 games or so, and he's rode this momentum that the Cleveland Cavaliers were already on. He didn't throw off the team. You know, they've excelled when Darius Garland made his return. Right now, he is averaging around 18 points per game, nearly 6 assists, and he does grab a couple of rebounds here and there, as he has been averaging 2.4 rebounds this season. Now, his field goal percentage, career high. It's absolutely crazy. 46%, nearly 47% from the field, Darius Garland. Now, if you know Darius Garland, if you're a Cleveland Cavaliers fan, he usually shoots around that, but it has been slightly higher than usual. He's been on this team for the past 5 seasons at this point, and slowly he's gotten better and better, but Cavaliers fans have been waiting for him to take the next step. And it's really looking like he could be the Robin to Donovan Mitchell's Batman going forward if Donovan Mitchell does resign. I do see a lot of potential for Darius Garland. He is only 24. He may never reach that, all-star level, but he's a good piece to have alongside Donovan Mitchell, and I think that their success over the last 2 seasons has proven this. And speaking of guys who have returned from injury, Evan Mobley is back and healthy. He also has only played around 28 games this season, and what's very interesting is that the time frame in which he's been out so far pretty much aligns with the games Darius Garland missed, because Evan Mobley was also out from about mid-December to late January, and he's been playing on this team for the last 7 or 8 games, and he's looked really good. I mean, his points is nearly 16 points per game. His field goal shooting and 3-point shooting have been much higher this season. Hell, his 3-point percentage is about 38. Of course, he is taking a little less attempts than previous seasons, but that's still really high for Evan Mobley, okay? And the best part about Evan Mobley's game so far has been his defensive rebounds. They've looked a lot better than his first 2 seasons, and I think this is where he's taking the biggest improvement, besides his shooting. His shooting has also gone way up, along with his rebounds, and that's what makes him, a great piece to this team. He is the young core that they have down low, because of course Jarrett Allen is on this team, but he's not really as young as Evan Mobley, and who knows what his future looks like for the Cleveland Cavaliers. What we do know is that Evan Mobley's probably going to be around for a while. And finally, last but certainly not least, I think it is important that I bring up the role players who have stepped up so far. You've heard me talk about a lot of these key pieces to the franchise and how they've missed a lot of games. Well, the reason they're on a winning streak is because some of the role players, some of the key signings they've made this free agency have played really well. Max Strus has gone out and played 51 games for this team, tied for the most so far this season, and he's averaging about 32 minutes per game. If you watch a Cavaliers game, Max Strus is probably on the floor, and he's played really well, okay? In those 32 minutes per game, he's looked like a very good piece alongside Mitchell. 12 points per game, His assists, almost 4. He's shooting 40% from the field. They are getting a lot more than they bargained for from Max Strus, and he isn't the only guy, because another low-key player who stepped up has been Dean Wade. He started in 30 games this season, mainly because a few of his teammates have been out with injury. But you know what? Dean Wade has also looked good. He's gotten 21 minutes per game. He'll get his shots up here and there. He's really good when it comes to rebounds, especially for his size. I mean, he is a guard at the end of the day. And he's also shooting about 41% from the field. So Dean Wade, guys like Max Strus, hell, maybe even Isaac Okoro and Karis LeVert. Yeah, these role players have all, played above what they should be doing right now. Now, does it help that the Cavaliers schedule hasn't been the strongest lately? Maybe that's a part of it and what's contributed to their winning streak, but they've also beat a few top tier teams along the way. They beat the Bucks several times, they beat the Clippers, and they took down the Magic, okay? Plus, great teams beat up on the bad teams. Those are free wins for them. So they should be doing what they're supposed to be doing as a great team in the NBA. Hell, if they end the season as the #1 seed, my mind will be completely blown. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Really just wanted to cover the Cavaliers because they have been a surprise so far this season, and I can't wait to see what they do in the playoffs. Hopefully, it's more than just a first round exit. Catch y'all later. Much love. Deuces.